Hello, welcome to another briefing. In this briefing, I'm going to talk about the upcoming cool down for much of the western corridor of the continental United States, western states, California, Nevada, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, also Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana. A lot of these areas will be cooling off. The Intermountain West has a chance of rain and snow. I believe the snow line will be roughly 5,000 feet. Of course, fluctuating, usually higher snow levels at the beginning of the storm and then dropping as the cold air comes down. But we're looking at focusing in more on the Bay Area and California. Unfortunately, not a lot of rain expected. Maybe some snow for the Sierra, but definitely a cool down coming. So let's start out with the height anomaly map. And so I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna put this like this so you can see. So this is anomalies of pressure at 18,000 feet, basically. Higher pressure is usually associated with warmer air masses coming up from the south, and higher pressure and compressing air, and lower pressure is usually associated with colder air, and colder air masses coming from the north. So what we see here on this projection for the European model is, as we go through Friday and Saturday, we have this trough of low pressure that's trying to come in and start to bring some colder air, and it does begin to do so. This troughing pattern does begin to take over as we go into 5 p.m. Sunday here. This is late Sunday. This is beginning to come down. There's a cold front along the leading edge of this, and this is bringing rain to many areas, and this is starting to come down and bring a much cooler air mass to the Bay Area. I'm just gonna fix this, put the last full run, as you can see here. This thing swings through Monday and Tuesday, very cold air associated with this, and then another trough comes in behind that around Halloween, another pretty cold system, unfortunately pretty dry. It's an inside slider, as we call them, where the center of the low pressure passes far inland to us rather than coming from the coast, so it's not able to gather a lot of moisture with it, unfortunately. If we put a different view here, what's going on, this is showing you precipitation, mean sea level pressure, and also thickness of the atmosphere from the surface to 18,000 feet. And we're looking at mostly for rain and snow here, and you see this first system coming in on the 26th, but it misses the Bay Area, maybe some very light amounts, but it mostly misses the Bay Area to the north. And then it carves, see, maybe some good snow for the Sierra, but it goes south. And then we have another system, unfortunately, does kind of a similar thing, another inside slider, as we call these, with big high pressure set up over parts of the southwestern United States, and low pressure, a polar jet stream that is bringing air from the Gulf of Alaska down into the Intermountain West, bringing storm systems from the Pacific Northwest down through the Intermountain West, but bypassing California, unfortunately. And so not a lot of rain for California. This is the air mass anomaly, temperature anomaly map for 5,000 feet. And this is as we go through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then as we get into Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m., 5 p.m., going into Sunday evening here, this blast of cold air starts pouring in to the Bay Area here. And then look at this right behind it, there's another one. So all the way from Sunday the 27th through Friday the 1st. This is 5 p.m. Friday the 1st on Pacific time. So that's 5 days of below average temperatures at the 5,000 foot level. Cold air mass. Colder air mass than normal. You see this one, and then right behind that, right around Halloween, there's that second system and the cold air associated with it. And I'm just going to show you the actual 5,000 foot temperature. These readings are in Celsius, but I'm going to be focusing more on the colors. And see, the darker the colors get, you have like this magenta-ish, and then a darker magenta purple like, and then this greenish like color. This is really cold. This is colder air as you go north here. So this is what's happening today, and then this is as we put this into motion. See, still pretty warm air for a lot of California at that 5,000 foot level. And then you're looking at this next system making its move, starting to come in. This is Sunday. As we go through Sunday here, Sunday evening, and then as we go through Monday, Tuesday, this is a shorter run. I'm going to put the full run on that. Okay, here we go. Tuesday, Wednesday, look at that. Thursday, look at that. The cold air doesn't really warm up, and then that second shot, which might be, so for parts of the Sierra, that might be even colder, that second shot. We got -2 Celsius, that's about 28 Fahrenheit at that 5,000 foot level over the northeast corner of California here. See, the system before that, was around 0, -1, so this one's, I'm looking at like most of Nevada right around 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit. Next system comes through, look at that. Those same areas, a couple degrees colder. Not a lot, but a little bit colder, you know. So even colder potentially for some areas with that second shot. Although it will be a little further east, and you notice the Bay Area doesn't, I think the Bay Area actually doesn't cool off as much with the second shot. Because you see the first shot, yeah, the first shot, I mean, it's close, I guess. The first shot is 4 Celsius, 5 Celsius. Second shot, maybe 5 or 6. So it's actually a little bit warmer because of the track of that colder air. But I wanted to show you our projected rain and snow. No. Let me see here. So, projected rainfall, I'm just gonna go from the beginning. So this is as we go in through Saturday, it starts accumulating up in the Pacific Northwest. Sunday, we get a little bit down to the Bay Area, maybe some trace amounts on the Euro, not much. And then we go further in here. So a lot of rain, even from this first, even just to next Wednesday here, we've got a lot of rain for the Seattle area, the Portland area. This is quite significant. Over an inch for Seattle, I believe, and also for actually Seattle could be maybe 2 inches. Yeah, it's looking like a lot of rain over there. And then you get this second system. Unfortunately, the Bay Area does not get much, but further inland we get quite a bit. Let's look at snow real quick. And then I want to show you winds. I want to show you something else. Okay, so here we go. Snowfall 10 to 1 ratio. let's scroll through here. Yep, so here we go. This is through. So the first system actually does not bring a lot of snow. It's still pretty high snow level. Second system comes in. It's a little bit colder. You get a little more snow. I want to look at wind. Let's look. Cases. Alright. So you're looking at winds picking up a bit this weekend ahead of that system. Northern California mostly. And as we go in through Sunday, they pick up in the Bay Area, mostly a northwest wind as we go through Sunday afternoon. And then look at that, those winds really get going out of the northwest Monday afternoon for a lot of the west. And then you're looking at the next system, maybe some south winds and then northwest winds. Nothing really significant, it seems. I mean, maybe a little bit of an offshore gradient ahead of the storm this weekend, but it's not looking very significant. And then as we go further out, way into the extended here, look out towards November 3rd, there's a potential offshore wind event with a strong high pressure system over Idaho that would drive a offshore wind down towards the Bay Area, but that's pretty far out. A lot could change still until then. Now I wanted to show I wanted to talk a little bit about inside sliders. And this kind of setup and how it's very it's very classic of a La Nina pattern. And this is what we've been getting a lot of so far. So this is just an example of a computer model projection. It's actually a few days. It's about a week old at this point. I think this is actually what was going on last week, but it's that same kind of pattern we've been in for a couple weeks now. And the reason we don't get a lot of rain from these systems is they're coming in from a northerly inland track, and they're not pulling in a lot of moisture from the Pacific like the systems that come off the coast are. And why is that they're taking that track? Because look off the coast of California here, there's that big ridge of high pressure. Look at that ridge, look at those higher contours, look at this 588 decameter value. Look, which is for October, that's pretty high. And then look at these anomalies here. Look at this thickness. Look at these pressure height anomalies here, right off of the coast of California where that ridge is. You can clearly see that positioning of that ridge right there. And what is the jet stream doing in this case? It is doing this. It is coming from the Gulf of Alaska through the Pacific Northwest, through the Intermountain West. So Pacific Northwest, Intermountain West, they're getting good rain, good snow. They're getting really wet, really snowy. But these areas like south of pretty much south of the California-Oregon border, I mean, Northern California gets a little bit, the Sierra gets a little bit, but ends up not getting a lot of precipitation because you're not pulling in a lot of moisture. When the system is coming down into the Pacific Northwest, it's still coming over the water and it's getting moisture with it. But by the time it crosses Washington, Oregon, Idaho, it doesn't have, it's taking an inland track over the desert here, over Nevada, over the Utah, over Arizona. So it does not, there's not much moisture to work with out here, and it's too far out that it's not really pulling in moisture, any kind of moisture, that winds that come off of the ocean here, they're getting dried out as they move over the Sierra, and there's just not a lot, because, see, the wind flow just isn't pulling in a lot of moisture. It's more of a west flow or northwest flow around this thing, whereas this thing were positioned offshore, it would be pulling in a southwest flow with a lot of moisture from the tropics. But that's not the case with these inside sliders. They're very cold. They're mostly dry. And they do not, unfortunately, they don't bring a lot of rain for California. And this is unfortunately a pretty typical La Nina pattern. This is what will often happen during La Nina. This big ridge in the east is not very common. That's what's happening in the east in this is not very La Nina like, but this trough in the west here is like a classic. This wind flow, this jet stream coming down through the Gulf, through the Pacific Northwest to the Intermountain West is a classic La Nina like setup. And this isn't to say we won't have some more coastal storms, more wet type storms this year, but I mean, at least now it's looking pretty dry. But I just wanted to note this is also a pretty classic La Nina setup.